All right. This is the power grind video. I've been planning to make this for a while because I see a lot of mistakes being made with the power grind. I'm currently 427, which is not 450, but it's still a lot further than I think a lot of people have made it here. And so I'm just going to cover some things that I think made it quicker for me, and some things that I think some really common mistakes that I see people making. And I'm also grinding today because today's K1 logistics on Solstice, and so I wanted to make this video because I think that this is a really good day to grind K1. Pretty much like people should just always be doing K1. I don't know why people started doing Kaltera. K1's always better, even if it's Fallen. When K1 is on Hive, it's either Hive or Fallen, then K1 Hive is the quickest solo op in the game. So the first thing I want to recommend is, like, if you go to a solo op and you see a training up here, you should finish all of your trainings. You shouldn't leave any of these undone. And the reason why is that if you don't do all the trainings, and you don't need any modifiers on to do your trainings, you just click on it and load it up. Once you finish all your trainings, your modifiers will become remembered. So you can do a solo op, and then at the end of the solo op, you can just click on K1 and it will automatically have all your modifiers selected for you. And when you're running solo ops as many times as this power grind demands, that is a big time save. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is get a power grind loadout. So this is my power grind loadout. I do most of mine on my hunter, but pretty much everything on this loadout is what I infuse. If I get a new higher thing, I will infuse this gear and pretty much nothing else. The thing that I recommend the most having in your power grind loadout is Choir of One, because it's very all-purpose. It can handle precision, it can handle quick weapon kills. I have mine with subsistence just because I need to clear ads as quickly as possible. And then I also use Mint Retrograde just for like heavier duty needs. I would say put on Temporal Blast also if you have tier 4, tier 5. And yeah, so having a loadout is, I think, really important. I also have an Eager Edge sword. You don't really need this. Yeah, just showing all my loadout. And then also having on some like void ammo generations, just because you're doing your ad clear with your choir, and then if you want, you can do some finders. But that's really about it. For anyone who's interested on what build I'm running for Prismatic Hunter, this is what I'm using. These are all just for stats. Just have minimum 70 melee and somewhere around 60 class. And then I also have Heart of Inmost is what's most important to have on your class item. But this isn't a hunter guide. I'm trying to make this general. And so the biggest recommendations I have are just these two. You don't need Mint Retrograde, but it's just such a strong weapon that I highly recommend it. Okay, the next mistake I see people doing is with their selection of modifiers and mode. So most people know that in order to max your score, you don't actually need to max this bar out. So for me, I could do like no HUD, I could put on Brawn, and then if I did this modifier, I'm already close enough. In fact, I probably don't even need no HUD, to be honest, to max out. And so you can see, like, right now the combatant power is 420 and my power is 427. And as long as I have some new gear on and get the bonus objective, I will get max rewards. And so you should pretty much never ever have to fight anything that's like above your power if you're selecting your modifiers, right? You most certainly don't need to fight anything that's 20 above, and you should at the very most be fighting stuff that's 10 above. Let's say I was 380 power. I would much rather like select 4 plus 20 modifiers. Then that would be like, to me, this would be much easier than doing 400 Grandmaster, even though like there would be no modifiers. And the reason why is, like, if you're 380, even though like there's a bunch of modifiers, this stuff's not gonna hurt because it's all at like the same power level that you're at. It really, like, it just doesn't matter. Where this stuff sucks is where you're also like underpowered. The modifiers only really suck if you're also fighting stuff that's above your power. So now that I've explained that, I'm just gonna do a run of K1 and show you kind of my thought process going through just like a basic run of K1. Most of my runs take like 2.5 minutes. If it's a fallen day, what you should do is you don't have to kill the servitors in the spawn area. You can actually just punch the shield generators, and you can punch them through the little shield thing, and you can take them out. And so let's look at my bonus objective. Right now I just have weapon takedowns. Because it's only 45, I don't really have to worry about getting anything in the spawn area. If it was like in the 50s, I would maybe get a few spawn kills, but like if you can avoid doing ad clear in the spawn area, I do recommend it because there's just a lot of ads. You can also break these really easily with the hip fire for choir, and you can summon your sparrow in this area, which is really nice. And then this is the area where I recommend doing like the most ad clear, so once you get down here. So I'm just gonna get maybe 20 or so kills in this area. This is also where I would do precisions if I had that modifier as my bonus objective, and I'm gonna also clear out all of these guys. And as you can see, I have about 20 left, which is the final boss area should spawn plenty for that. Now there is a way to skip a health gate on this boss, and so I'll show you how to do that real quick, but pretty much you just want to barely tap the shield, and then after a little while this buff will let you pick it up again. Yeah, see how I have it back? If I were to T-crash right now, or if I had something that was really high damage, I don't have stacks for my grapple, so I can't do it right now. But if I had something really high damage, I could T-crash, for example, and as long as my light empowerment doesn't go away, I can break the shield again. So this buff, you can see I still had it. It lasts for a little while. If you can bring her HP bar down in this course of time, you can break the shield again. That's like a really hyper optimizing type thing. All right, there we go. So I made some mess ups there, but it's still like not the slowest run. And because this is currently the Solstice activity, I'm also getting tier 5s because I'm above 400. And so this is a really, really strong grind for today. If you're not above 400, then there's still a chance for you to get a tier 5 if you're like in the 300 range is what I'm hearing. So what I've just explained to you is everything you really need to know to get to 400. Just run this over and over until you hit 400. I'm now going to explain the difficulty of 400 to 450, and I want to make it clear, like 450 is a luxury. If you're going for 450, then the reason why is just so that you can farm Caldera tier 5s, or so you can farm tier 5s from Crucible. That's the only reason right now. So once you get to 400, the power grind changes pretty substantially because your rewards, so usually you're guaranteed a +3 as long as you get high rewards in the like in a solo op. Once you get to 400, it is just a chance that you get something that gives you a +3 drop, and that makes the grind, of course, substantially slower. And it does matter that you still do the bonus objective and that you get max rewards. You can get a prime for not getting max rewards, but it is a lot easier to get a prime if you are doing max rewards. Rough estimates are like 10 solo ops tends to be what would give you a what they're calling is a prime piece right now. So a prime power level. So it'd be a +3 from your account power. So when you get to 400, you'll still be grinding K1 for the most part, but there's some other sources that become significantly more important than what they were pre-400. One of those sources is events like this, so Solstice. Take for example the Solstice armor, which will drop at +3 power. That's essentially a prime drop that you get for free. And there's a whole bunch of sources in Solstice, at least specifically, of this kind of prime drop being a thing. I'll show an actual example of this now. Boom, shield broke. And so hopefully some of you have saved some Solstice armor, because Solstice armor is a lot more valuable after 400. You get +3 pre-400, and then you also still get +3 post-400, even though post-400 is a significantly more difficult grind. You can do this on all 3 characters, and so that is 15 guaranteed prime drops. And then also, within the rewards pass, these are also prime drops. See, that's +3 power because my account power is 427 right now. This is +3. This is +3. I haven't grabbed this one yet. And then also the intro quest to Solstice you can do on all 3 characters, and those will give you a prime drop. And so in total, there are 21 prime drops from Solstice, and that is a lot of drops. And so I'm also going to show you how to maximize the value from that. And I'm using dim for this case. And so dim shows you your account power. Account power is what matters. And I like to think of account power as, you know, you use, let's take for example Solstice armor. You want to use your focusing as a way to push your account over the whatever out of 8 threshold. So it'd be good to get my account to 428 right now. And you never want to focus something that is like a plus, right? So +1, if I for example got a prime drop in my energy slot right now, I'm inherently getting less value from it, right? Because my energy slot is already above average on my account power. And so it would be good, like for example, if I were to grab a Solstice armor right now, I should grab either a chest, a boot, or a helmet. And then the other thing that you want to take note of, and I believe that this can also be done on the mobile app for dim. I believe you can view this. Again, you just click here to see it. If your helmet is ever -1, if it says ever -1, then there is no reason to not just go to your collections, go to the flyer tab, miscellaneous, claim this, and that will change it to +0. And so these points, think about it like +2, this is contributing to that. And every time this gets to 8, your account power goes up by 1. And so 1 + 3 is 4, 6, 7. That's why this is at 7 out of 8 right now. If any of these were below my average power, they would be subtracting from this. And so all that really matters is hitting this 8 out of 8 threshold as efficiently as possible. And using any means to do that. And so that right there is the reason why I'm not grabbing my rewards pass drop yet, because I'm wasting a point if I were to grab this drop right now, because my energy weapon is already +1, right? And so that's like kind of a hyper optimizing thing, but that's the reason why I got to 427 so quickly. I only hit 400 on Tuesday, and I really have not been grinding these last 3 days. And then the other source of prime drops that is a free weekly thing, you get 3 free primes from this, is Zavala's Vanguard Armory. This is a free 3 prime drops every week, and you can also, for the armor, choose what slot it goes into. And so that is really powerful. And so that's like, those are the biggest things I wanted to talk about. I'm hoping people haven't spent their Solstice armor yet. I know a lot of people were holding off on Solstice armor because they were wanting to grind the weapons, but I will say you will typically get your tier 5 weapons a whole lot easier than you will get your tier 5 armor. There are so many different rolls you can get on tier 5 armor, and for tier 5 weapons, a lot of the time you are getting like most of the rolls. If you think about it, it's much easier to find the roll that you want for a tier 5 GL than it is to get for a tier 5 armor piece, because a tier 5 armor piece has the tuning focus, it has the archetype, it has the like the non-archetype focus stat. And so this one, for example, Grenadier, the non-archetype focus stat was weapons, because weapons isn't always the stat for Grenadier. So yeah, I would say those are the biggest things that I think I see people missing. I'll try to pin a comment if I forget anything, if I notice anything. But yeah, that's a quick little hyper optimization guide for you guys. So thanks for the support as always, and thanks, goodbye.